I've tested hundreds of SEO tools over the last decade, and today I'll show you exactly what I'm using right now to get consistent SEO results like this, and this. Let's begin with SEO tool number one, which is Rankability's Content Optimizer. And so what you want to do is go into the Content Optimizer and click on Import URL Content. Now, I'm assuming you're already working on an existing campaign, you already have an existing page. If you have a page that's already built around a particular keyword, you want to do this option because we're going to put that keyword in and then we're going to put the URL in, because what's going to happen is Rankability is going to crawl that URL and extract all of the content. And that way you can see how well that page is actually optimized right now in real time. So you also want to go ahead and search the specific city where you're going to be trying to optimize. So in this case, go ahead and search Santa Monica, which is what I'm doing. And then we'll go ahead and just run that optimizer. Okay, so the content optimizer report is complete, and you can see it went ahead and extracted all the content from that page. And we can see here how well that page is optimized as far as topic coverage. So these are all the topics that all the competitors are talking about. And you can see if we click on AC unit, for example, and go to examples, we can see how the competitors are hitting these topics in their content, okay? And so in general, we want to try to cover as many topics as we possibly can. And don't be concerned about how many times you mention a specific keyword phrase. That's totally irrelevant. And that just kind of leads to keyword stuffing, which you don't want. What we want to do is just think about how do we cover each of these topics in our content. So in this example, right away, I can tell there's some challenges. First is this page is definitely over optimized specifically for Santa Monica. So when we look at this, they've mentioned Santa Monica 13 times. And so, back in the day when Google's algorithms were not as sophisticated, you might have needed to be this aggressive to get Google to understand that you were an AC repair servicing Santa Monica, California. But at this point, Google's algorithms are so sophisticated and they're using large language models that it becomes totally unnecessary to be this aggressive. What I'd be thinking about is how do we rebuild this page and cover all of these topics? So one thing you could do is you can just copy these over and then we'll just go over to ChatGPT, or you can use any tool that you want. And we can just say, create an SEO content outline for AC repair Santa Monica using these NLP keywords. Okay. NLP keywords is kind of a strange phrase because these are just topics and keywords at the end of the day that the competitors are using. NLP is just the technology that's being used to extract these topics and entities from those pages. But basically what's going to happen here is it's going to build a really good outline. And when this outline is done, then you have that opportunity to decide how you want to build this page out. Now, I recommend, based on the data, that using human written content, if it's within your budget, is going to be the best option. Like really thinking long term about what's going to perform the best. Human written content has been proven to outperform AI content. It just has. I even have a case study about this. Does Google penalize AI content? And you'll see here's the post that I wrote. And this is specifically a case study. Okay, so this whole case study, basically we analyzed a bunch of top ranking results and we found that 83% of the results are not using AI generated content. You can certainly rank with AI content when it's done correctly. But if you do it in a way where it's just like you go and just, generate it super fast and slap it on your website, that's not going to work super well. So what I would rather do is build a really powerful outline. So we'll copy this over, go back into Rankability. We just go to eliminate this and we'll just paste in this outline. And we'll see how optimized it is. And based on this, this is perfect because what this is telling us is that this outline is perfectly covering every topic that we need to cover. And then from here, you have the choice of you could take this outline and add some unique characteristics into it about that company and then feed it back into the AI. That can certainly work. But like I said, if you could have a writer go and actually create this content for you, like a direct response copywriter, it's just going to be more effective overall is what I'm saying. So, and there's plenty of direct response copywriters that could, hit about 1,200 words on this. Yeah, it'd be a couple $100, but it's worth it because you would much rather rank for 3, 4, 5 years as opposed to, struggling to rank for just a couple of months. And now let's move on to SEO tool number 2, which is SEMrush's keyword gap tool. So while you're in SEMrush, just go to the keyword gap tool here. And what you're going to do is you're going to enter your domain or your client's domain, and then you're going to enter one of their top competitors. So what we're going to do is we're going to put those in and then we're going to click compare. And within a few short seconds, we're going to quickly see all of the keywords that our top competitor is ranking for that we are not ranking for. And so essentially what this is telling us is that there's a huge gap that we need to fill. So what you want to do here is you got a bunch of options, but I recommend going to untapped. So these are going to be all the keywords where your competitors are ranking in the top 100. Your domain is not ranking at all. Okay. But if you just look at this is going to be a little too broad. So what I would recommend doing is actually going up to position and going to competitors and clicking top 10. So now we're going to see here only the keywords where our competitors are actually ranking in the top 10. These are the most important ones because we know these are going to be highly relevant. So what I do from here is I identify the keywords that are highly relevant to what we're doing. And then we're slowly going to start to narrow these gaps, meaning we're gonna have to build out dedicated pages specifically for some of these topics, or we're gonna have to go to our existing pages and improve and upgrade those pages so we can improve performance. And now for SEO tool number 3, Screaming Frog SEO Spider. So Screaming Frog is hands down my favorite tool for crawling and auditing a website. So what you wanna do is, especially when you're working with a domain where you don't actually have access to a lot of these tools, you're gonna have to do things a little bit differently. But let's just say I did have access to this website and all of their tools. You'd want to integrate the Google Analytics 4 API, Google Search Console, PageSpeed Insights, and the Ahrefs APIs. And what this is going to do is going to give you the most data imaginable so you can get a really good idea of what's going on this website. But in this case, we're just going to only integrate Ahrefs. So go ahead and connect the API, and then you're going to go over here and we're going to just uncheck a lot of this stuff. You can actually just uncheck everything first. And I'll show you basically the only metrics you really need to pay attention to for a really high level audit. Number 1 is referring domains. This is the unique amount of websites that are linking to each individual page. This is really important. And then I also recommend clicking keywords and traffic. So because we don't have access to their actual Google Analytics, we're going to have to do some rough ballpark estimates. And so Ahrefs can provide that for us. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be 100% accurate, but at least it'll give us a ballpark idea of what's going on. So once that's connected, just go ahead and start the crawl. Okay, so now that the Screaming Frog crawl is complete, I just went into here and just pasted in all of the crawl data. And so I always like to freeze this top row, and then we'll go ahead and just add a filter. And what we can do is we can quickly just start looking through all of these pages and see if we see any just kind of high level issues right away. Okay, so let's start right away with 404 pages. Okay, we'll start right here and we're just going to see why do they have so many 404 pages. That's a very good place to start and just see, is there something going on here? And it looks like they've got some old weird catalog thing. And this is probably a good idea to just let this 404. But what I really want to see is scroll over, and you want to see if any of these 404 pages have existing internal links. Because if they have internal links, that means that there are going to be broken links on the website. So based on what we're seeing here is we have unique in links. We've got about 166 internal links going to these pages on the site, which means we have 166 broken links on the site. So we just need to identify where this is happening on the site and then just fix it, right? It's that simple. Next thing I want to look at is go over to the right, and I want to see, do any of these pages have existing backlinks? So based on what I'm seeing here in the referring domain section, we've got 83 backlinks that are hitting these 404 pages. So that essentially means we have all this link equity and powerful, important juice that we use for SEO performance is just hitting 404 pages. So any of these pages that are actually have existing backlinks, we're going to want to 301 redirect them to an existing page. So try to find an apples to apples page where you can drive those redirects to, so you can retain that authority and link equity. Now, I would just do a quick fact check and check one of these and see if the backlinks are actually legitimate. If they're just kind of garbage links, don't do it. But if they're actually good backlinks, then you're going to want to try to retain some of that really good link equity. Okay. So that's the first thing is on that front. Now we'll go back here and we'll just look at 200, and then we'll only look at the indexable content. And what I want to start doing is looking for keyword cannibalization. So right away, we're going to see this, and we've got some serious problems right away. We can see just in the title tag. So the title tags are extremely over optimized. I mean, this is as over optimized as you could possibly get. And honestly, I wasn't trying to just cherry pick this one. I just picked it because they were on page 7 for the keyword. So, but I'm not surprised based on what I see here, because this is extremely over optimized. And even with Santa Monica, right? We've got multiple pages specifically going after Santa Monica that are essentially trying to rank for every single keyword, all with different intents on multiple pages. So, if I see something like this to me warrants a full rebuild of the entire site. okay? Because one simple reason, if we take Santa Monica, which is the focus here, we see just in this one line here, we've got air conditioning installation, repair and maintenance, okay? Just these three concepts all have different intent, because someone who wants to get an AC installed is very different intent than someone who wants to just get it repaired, right? Or someone who's just looking for a maintenance package. Like, those three concepts are very different. And so if you're building out a landing page or a sales page for those three, you're going to be approaching the copywriting and the positioning very differently for those. So you would need three dedicated pages to properly satisfy the intent of those topics, right? And then we go down the list. We've got heating, we've got ventilation, and once again, a repeat of air conditioning again, and more air conditioning once again. Just wildly over optimized. And this, like I said, this would need to be a full rebuild of this site if you really want to be able to drive proper performance. So we would just need to kind of rebuild this whole thing. So I would start there, and then we can look kind of down the board, and we see, once again, meta keywords are being used. This stuff doesn't work anymore, right? This used to work back in the day, and you would, slam all these meta keywords here, and that would maybe help, but that hasn't worked probably for at least 10 years or longer. It doesn't do anything. In fact, it's probably more of a signal of spam than it is a positive thing. It's probably actually more a negative factor using them. So I would just go and delete these straight up. And then just going through, once again, one of the most important tags on a page is your H1 tag. We're missing tons of H1 tags. So we can actually go to this page and we'll see likely doesn't even have an H1 tag on the page. And so we'll see here in the headings, it doesn't even have an H1 tag on the page. So what we're going to want to do is, once again, the whole site needs to be rebuilt structurally. There's like actual structural problems associated with this site. The fourth SEO tool I recommend is Google's Gemini deep research tool. Go ahead and put in a simple query. So in this case, I just did find at least 10 local donation link opportunities for an HVAC company in Santa Monica, California. And then it gives you a little, prompt of what it's going to do. And then you just run that report. So within just a few minutes, it built out this beautiful report on all these opportunities that we can go and get links on. Right? And we can see tons and tons of link opportunities. In fact, they even put in a nice little table for us. So what we would do is we would reach out to all of these entities and try to get a link on their donation page. And what that's going to do is give us these really hyper relevant links that are coming from super trusted entities in that area. Okay. And this is like, to me, one of the biggest and best things for deep research is just doing link prospecting. Back in the day when you did link prospecting, you used to manually have to do all this in Google and use Chrome extensions and export them. And then it was a huge process, and it used to take a really long time. Now you can just export to Google Sheets and you're done with it. So you could do, like, in one day, you could probably have almost all of your link prospecting for all your different link types for one campaign probably done in, honestly, one day. And then from there, then you can just immediately start doing your outreach. And if you think about an SEO campaign, typically the way it would normally go is you would wait to do that while you did everything else. But now, like, I think on day one of any SEO campaign, you should start thinking about link acquisition like right away, because you have this ability to find all these beautiful opportunities, and you need to start getting the outreach train in motion so you can try to get as many links as you possibly can. The fifth best SEO tool is SEMrush's backlink gap. All right, so just go to backlink gap inside of SEMrush, and once again, very similar to the keyword gap that we did earlier, enter your domain and then enter a competitor, and then we're going to click find prospects. So go to the dropdown and click the competitor, and then go to unique. And what this is going to do is show all of the domains where our competitors have links, where we do not. And so all we have to do is just start looking into some of these link opportunities, like this one here from Redfin, and see, how did they actually get a link on Redfin? And we can reverse engineer this and try to get a similar link, or try to get the exact link that they have. And so what we're going to be thinking about is, like, can we get these links? And ultimately, you're just trying to formulate a strategy, because if they have more links than us, they're probably going to beat us long term. And in this case, this competitor has 500 referring domains that we do not have. So that is a massive, massive gap. and we have to continually focus on narrowing that gap. And in fact, you really need to be in a surplus to try to catch up, because if these your competitors are not stopping with their link acquisition, they're going to keep acquiring links. If they're doing a good job, they're going to continue that process. So you're going to need to actually acquire more links than them to kind of narrow that gap. So this is really important. But at a high level, you've got all of the domains where they have links. So now we just have to start to work to narrow this gap. Now, one thing that can help significantly is if you use a service like digital.pr. So this is a sponsor of this video, and they just do really great work. And honestly, even for local campaigns, you can use them and they'll help you build out these really great PR campaigns. They can comment as an expert. And so they can get, in a bunch of expert roundups, and they get you these really, really powerful backlinks that can help you narrow these backlink gaps very quickly. So at the end of the day, you can look at this gap and say, okay, we got to get 500 referring domains, but you actually don't need to get that many if you're getting very powerful links. So the stronger the links you get, the less links you're going to need, because you're just tapping into existing authority. And this is all that they do. So if you want to get the best links possible, I highly recommend using their service. Just go to digital.pr, and I'll have a link in the description. And now for number 6, which is none other than ChatGPT. Okay, so honestly, I use ChatGPT on a daily basis, not just for SEO, but like everything in my business, I'm always using it. But one of the use cases that I just love is using it to help us create link bait ideas on the local level. And so a lot of people who try to build links on the local level, they just slam their commercial pages. And what this does is it leads to over optimization and leaves a massive footprint. So a better approach is to create things that are actually link worthy. And so what I love to do is I love to focus on statistics, data, and research. So you can do a very simple prompt like this. And what it's going to do is going to create a bunch of really good link bait ideas. And so typically when I run this, I find at least 4 or 5 that I'm like, wow, these are actually really, really good. And then we can go out there and actually just start building these. And these are the types of assets where you build them and your clients will actually be impressed that you built something like this, right? You built something like this that's actually valuable. And when you think about link bait, don't think of it as a one and done activity, because what you should be thinking about more is like putting many lines in the ocean. So there's a very good chance that, only 20% of your link bait assets will attract 80% of your links. Okay, that's just the nature of it. But you need to create a significant amount of them, because that greatly increases your odds that you're going to get links. It just does. If you create one, you're just basically trying to hit a home run. And that can happen, but that's more of like trying to win the lottery versus just trying to be consistent over time. And the more that you produce, the greater likelihood that you're going to get more links. When it comes to link building in general, this is the one thing that I don't, a lot of people try to look for tactics and like, what's the best link building technique and all this stuff. But at the end of the day, the best link building technique that you can use is just creating really good content. Like my entire strategy on Gotcha SEO, and I think I have a DR of 73 or 74 or something like that. Like the only reason I have links is just because I created content. Like I didn't do anything like super crazy. I just literally created content consistently for a decade, and that helped me get links. So I really think that that's the best way to get links, is just consistent content production of high quality content that brings unique insights in whatever industry you're trying to serve. And now moving on to SEO tool number 7, which is the detailed Chrome extension. Okay, now for one of the SEO tools that I use almost on a daily basis for quick analysis is the detailed Chrome extension. So this is a completely free tool that you can use, and it's one of my favorite when I'm just trying to do a quick analysis of a page. And so like, for example, I didn't even need to do a massive screaming frog crawl. I could just come to this page and did a quick, detailed Chrome extension analysis, and I'd be able to see that this page is over optimized, right? So superly over optimized. I can look at the meta description and see issues here. For example, like you don't typically want to put your phone number in the description of the title, because what that's going to incentivize searchers to do is just call that phone number and not click on your result. And if they don't click, you're not going to get that positive signal. It's basically proven at this point that organic CTR is a ranking factor. So if you do anything that's going to prevent someone from clicking, you're actually just shooting yourself in the foot. So I wouldn't do that. And then just using the detailed Chrome extension, just get a rough idea of what you're looking at. Once again, we can see they're using keywords, right? So just from this quick analysis, I can already see like, okay, we got to fix title tag, we got to fix meta description, we got to fix actually probably, the URL too, because if we're trying to rank for AC repair and this is furnace heating. Okay, so even the URL is not relevant to the query that we want to rank for. And then also looking at this, we get rid of the meta tags and then go to the heading section, see is the structure appropriate. Once again, this is for AC repair in Santa Monica, but there's a lot of stuff about heating. So just the page in general is not relevant enough. So that's, this is a huge structural issue that needs to change. But even in general, you see just the heading structure. We want to have proper heading structure where H1 is the first heading, then we've got our H2s, then we've got H3s embedded under the H2s, and so on and so forth. So this is the cool part about using the detailed Chrome extension. You just get a really quick analysis and just see what's going on. And if you're just trying to do trying to do a proposal for a client, and you're just trying to get some, kind of quick ideas, this is the thing that you need to have. And now for SEO tool number 8 is Mouseflow. All right, so I'm inside of Mouseflow, and this is one of my favorite tools for SEO. Even though it's not technically like an SEO tool on the surface, what data it gives us actually helps us with SEO. So one of the things you want to definitely have is some sort of user tracking software. Doesn't matter whether you use this one or another one, but you need the ability to see heat maps. Okay. And so what I will do is for a page that I'm trying to improve performance on, I'll just go in here and I'll collect data for a while. So then just try to collect at least 30 days of data. And then you're going to go in here and we're going to open this up and we're going to go to the click data, and we're going to be able to see all of the user interaction on this page that we're trying to improve performance on from an SEO perspective. Okay. And so I go ahead and change this, and then we'll increase the intensity, and we can see basically there's a few things I want to look at on any page from an SEO perspective. Number one is goal completions. Whatever you're trying to achieve on this page, is the user getting what they came for? Okay, so in the context of this page and the query that we're going after, which is best SEO software affiliate program, the goal that we do have is for people to click on this and go and sign up as an affiliate, right? That's the idea. That's the goal that we're trying to achieve. And so when we're seeing that the appropriate action is being taken, then we know that this page is doing what it's supposed to do. Okay. And we can go down and we'll go and see what other interaction on the page. And we can see the frequently asked questions section is one of the areas that's getting the most action, which means people are actually doing what they need to do on this page, which means we're giving them what they need, hopefully, to make an educated decision about becoming an affiliate of our program. And that's the idea. We want to see that the appropriate actions are being taken on the page. Once again, we'll go to the movement, and we want to see, are people using the page in a way that they should be using it? And once again, the answer is yes. And over here, we can see, once again, lots of movement by the frequently asked questions. And finally, under scroll, you can see, once again, are people actually consuming this page? Are they scrolling large majority? And I would say this is sufficient, right? We got about 40% of people making it down to the frequently asked questions. That's pretty solid. So in general, we have seen so many times where we look at a page that has poor user signals, we make that page better, we refine it, we restructure it so that it's better built for users, and we do see SEO results climb. So that's my current SEO tool stack. I hope that was helpful, and if you got value, please like it and subscribe because I have some awesome SEO videos coming soon. Thank you so much for watching.